is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. And you see who I'm with. You see who I'm with. My guy from South Carolina, Will Kramer. What up, Will?
Oh, man. How you doing? Happy hump day.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, man, the middle of the week, man. It's here. Going by quick.
It is. We're in our busiest season for work, and the days are flying by, and the weeks are flying by. And also, like, the thought of, like, Thanksgiving just a few weeks away, it's like, oh, my gosh, you got to be kidding me.
Right? You know, people out there, the cat was sitting there talking about what we're thinking about Thanksgiving plans and things we're doing. I'm like, that's so long. That's so long from now. And then I'm like, yo, it's the 9th already. You know what I mean? It's like we're like 2 weeks away from that time of the year. So, woo.
You just got to tell, hey, Kat, it's just week 10. We don't need to look at Thanksgiving. We're on week 10 right now, okay?
Exactly. We need to stay right here. And believe me, Kat has had some choice words for me. Some choice words. Will, I don't think in my life I have ever heard one phrase as many times as after Kirk Cousins beat us in Game 9, 20-17. Kat, she just bombarded me with, "You like that?
Oh my God.
You like that? Anything. Oh, that the food is great. It's great. Oh, you like that? It's just Kat. Kat. Oh, thank you for washing these clothes. Oh, you like that?
Oh my gosh. She's beating you over the head with it.
I just can't even. I can't. And then on top of that, if that wasn't enough, then this fellow wants to go on the plane and get a video of him, no shirt, chains, watches, the whole nine, dancing and doing all that. Yep. I was asleep, Will. I was asleep, and Catherine woke me up and said, look at my boy Kirk, and just showing me. I don't want to see this. Why are you showing me? Oh, God. It was rough, Will. It was rough.
Kat, if you're listening, that's very mean. On a Sunday night, you don't do that. You don't rub salt in a wound like that.
So painful. So painful. Catherine Hughes, my dear, I do love you. Full name. Yes, listen. It was crazy, but hey, rightfully so. She got the W. The Minnesota Vikings came into FedEx, beat us 20-17, came back down 17-7, and they came back to get it done late in the game. I was furious at the end. I definitely was. Matter that I wasn't the Dallas or the Philly game or any of that, because we were up. We had this game, and it was our mistakes that gave them not only the opportunity to get back in it, but then to take the lead and then to tie the game, and then at the end gave up our opportunity to win the thing because the daggone penalty with that. Will, we won 3 in a row, and then we come in, and the fact that we went up 17-7 kills me because we just let us. I was expecting us to get blown out. Both of us said it wasn't going to be close, and we should have won this game. Talk to me, man.
So this one hurt. This one really hurt because we were up 17-7 in the fourth quarter. Then we went up 24-7. Okay. And then we got that 6 points taken away. 23-7. Then they got taken away from us in the second half. So I get to really pay attention and focus in the first half. And then both my boys wake up from naps. And so I'm paying attention, but I'm going like, I'm watching the game. There's the play. Now I'm watching to make sure he doesn't fall. Okay, now I'm watching the play, watching to make sure he doesn't fall.
Right.
And so I was sitting there and I kept singing. I kept doing it. I was going, dun, 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 when we were getting touchdowns and field goals. And my littlest one was smiling and loving it. And so we were having a good time. And when St. Juice had the pick 6, I just kept going with it. It's like, fight on, fight on. You know, I went into it. And even Trisha looked over. She's like, you're happy today. You know, because it was 23-7 with like 10 minutes left in the game. And then it all came crumbling down. And this one hurt, especially when They got the field goal. All right, they got the field goal. Doggone it, we're down 3. All right, it's going to be another Heinicke miracle. God, let's hope he can do it. And then also, like, you see Kirk putting his helmet back on. You're like, what's going on?
Right.
What? And then they come out and it's like, well, this is – and it's like to lose like that where, like, you don't even get a chance. This one stung. That just it stings. And it's like you said, we had this game. We gave this win away.
Yep.
It's that whole feeling that we had a couple weeks ago. You know, Indy felt this way. Chicago probably felt this way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're like, this was our game. This is our game to win it. We're driving down, you know, and it's like, but especially compared to the week before where you know, Indy had the lead and then just lost it at the end. That's exactly what we did.
Yep.
And it's just so painful, man. It's hard. It's hard to swallow this one.
It's rough. It is really rough because we, like you said, we had it, and it's one of those where you look back on it like we never should have been in it, but we were the better team. We played better. We might not have been better talent-wise, but we did everything to win the game except win the game. And you go to the Ridgeway penalty that just it's one of those here we go again moments where it's like we can't get out of our own way. You know what I mean? I mean, to have that happen, and it's one thing if he was on the left side of the center. If I'm facing from the goalpost looking at him, he's on the left side. He crosses the face of the center to the right side and then runs him over. So I mean, come on now, like it's just one of those things where it's like, right here, man, be smart about it.
The thing about that's frustrating to me about that is, so that penalty happened because the Vikings let the refs know about it. Because on an extra point, he had a much more egregious play. And that's what Ron got mad about, was he was like, you know, you didn't call anything earlier or warn us earlier that we were contacting the center, because he was making some of the same moves. And the center this time, he did some acting a little bit. He got hit and he did some acting. And my thing was like, he made the field goal. Right. This did not impact the play.
Right.
We didn't jump up and block the kick. We didn't tip the kick. No one jumped over what he did. It's like, that's where the whole thing is like, is a penalty, or can you stay within the confines and flow of the game? Or are you inserting yourself into it? And so that's where it's like, I'm not arguing that it wasn't a penalty, but there's got to be a little bit of, do I still need to call this? And what else has happened in this game that we've let go similar that you didn't call? So that is hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it was difficult, ladies and gentlemen, but we are here to talk about it. We did lose 20-17. Oh man, late in the game. But let's go into evaluating our keys to victory a week ago. Will, what was one of your keys to victory last week?
So the first one is, I said that Taylor either needs to turn the ball over early or not at all, because anything in the end of the game was going to be tough for us to overcome. Boy, was I poetic with that.
Yes, this is the worst time.
The worst time. And we're going to get into the negatives with Taylor, so I don't want to spend too much time, but that just was absolutely crippling.
Yeah, that
penalty, because it put them. They caught it at the 50. They ran it all the way inside maybe the 20, at least inside the 30. So they were almost in the red zone or in the red zone. It's just they scored 2 plays later, I think. Like, you just turned and gave them all this momentum. And it was in a situation of, we can't have a mistake here. And he did. And it was second down that he did the mistake on. It wasn't third down, and it was the same type of stuff that of bad mechanics. When he gets stuff around him, he has bad mechanics. He didn't step into the throw, so he sailed it, and it was just a back-breaking interception that we couldn't afford.
Yeah, it was at the worst time, and it's funny, I thought about it, because after we got out of the first half, I was like, he didn't throw an interception. Oh, snap. Okay, what does this mean? Because even I go back to the last drive that we had, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is the time when he shows up and does it. But the timing of that interception it affected us, man. It was an issue. It was definitely an issue. One of the things I said was establish the run. One of the things I wanted, we did last week, was over 30 carries. We've been averaging around late 20s, high 20s, and low 30s in carries. And this week we got it at 30, over 100 yards on the ground, average almost 5 yards a carry. And our number one guys, Robinson, Gibson, both of those guys had over 35 yards. Robinson having 44 and Gibson with 36. I like that. We talked about them being a two-headed monster and getting their touches, and that's great. We need that. Heinicke, he's going to scramble for a couple yards. Then he got about 17. Then you have the X factors. Then you have the guys that you don't they'll try to game plan for, but those are our gadget guys. Curtis Samuel getting that one run where it was came into the backfield and it was straight up the gut.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It was straight for 16, and you're like, ooh, okay. Wait a minute. We need to put him in the backfield, like from the eye. And then on the flip side, you have the was it third down in one play where you run the jet sweep to Amani Rodgers and he comes up with the big run. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay. And it's funny because I remember listening to that one on the radio, and they went back and they said, Ron had the little smirk on his face, but it was one of those, all right, it worked that time, but put that deep into the playbook. Don't call that out unless we need it.
Yes.
But the fact that we were able to do that, look, we talked about it. We will continue to talk about it. We had control of this game, and one of the reasons is because we did have a very sustainable running game. Our running game was going, and it was helping to open up our passing lane. So it was one of the things that I thought we needed to do. And we did, and it kept them off the field for a good part of the game. So, what else? What was one of your other ones?
Yeah. Well, and I am going to touch a little bit on the running game later on about it because I do still feel like it's taken us too many handoffs to make it work. Like we're not that effective with it, aside for some of those trick plays that you were talking about. But they did something in the second half with the running game that I thought could translate into the Philly game. That's one of my keys to victory. So we'll get to that. I just wish we were a little bit more successful with our running game because we really do need it in order to help Heinicke. So I had, talking about defense, bend, don't break, make them kick field goals. And we held Minnesota under 20 points. And looking back at some of their other times, they've easily been scoring, in the high 20s. And so we had them corralled. It's the fourth quarter with 10 minutes to go and they only have 7 points.
Yeah.
So the defense was doing what they're supposed to do and above and beyond that, and they're going with a top 3 receiver in the league, and he's getting some plays, but they're holding him down too. They're making some plays. So I felt the defense capitalized on that. We'll get to some of the positives with them, but I thought, you really got to walk away with this saying, hey, the defense really did some things out there.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And right along those lines, one of my other keys to victory was cloud the picture. You know what I mean? Fog the picture up for Kirk Cousins. And you know what? I mean, look, he got over 250 yards, yeah, but he was 22 for 40. You know what I mean? There were times where we definitely was making it a little more difficult. He had a number of deeper plays that he got. He had a couple touchdowns. We talked about the one interception that we will discuss a little bit later from your guy, Danny Johnson, late in the half. But that was more of a last minute, trying to make something happen right before the halftime that deflected up, and he took advantage of that. That was a better play, like you said, by Benjamin St. Juste. But still, we gave him headaches, okay? Oh, yeah. And that also goes with the defense, that defensive line. And led by Deron Payne, we only had 2 sacks, but then we had 11 QB hits. We were hurrying him all day. And there was a number of times where you had him laying on the ground in pain after a couple of our hits and getting to him. And, I mean, it was early and often. And I love that because it really kind of – it slowed that offense down. Look, Justin Jefferson did what he did. We know he went off. We'll discuss that a little bit later, but – the fact of the matter is we really we shut down that ground game. We shut that stuff down, and the passing game wasn't the threat that maybe the Eagles passing game wasn't a pass. Maybe, some of these other pass games that we might have faced. So, yeah, that was one of the things I thought we needed to do was cloud that picture. And I honestly, I thought we did a good job with it. It was the run late in the game, and then he had the one, pass to Dalvin Cook that was a great catch.
Yeah.
But I thought we, for the most part, gave him a headache.
So. Absolutely. And it was interesting to see, we haven't really watched Kirk Cousins a lot. Or as I can say, I haven't. I used to check in after, the first year to see how he was doing and kind of, bittersweet, hoping he wouldn't do so well, that type of stuff. But I saw a different Kirk Cousins out there on Sunday. I thought it was really interesting because he kind of downplayed this game. He said, he's a professional. He really is a professional. Where he talked about all week, he talked about how nice it was his time in DC. He got his career started here. He met, his family got started here. He became a backup to a starter. But one of the things that here, which is kind of why they were reluctant to extend him, was he was a very careful quarterback. We talked about it last week. That's why you said cloud the picture. Don't let him see the perfect painting that he wants, and he's going to have trouble out there because he doesn't want to throw into bad stuff. Well, that was not the Kirk that I saw on Sunday. And I don't know if the difference is because he had Justin Jefferson out there and an elite wide receiver that he trusts, but Kirk just threw the ball up there several times. Just say, go catch it. Here's your ball. Go catch it. That touchdown pass was not bad coverage at all by St. Juice. Yep. And that's just Kirk just going, all right, here, go make a play. And that's, it's I was really surprised to see him make that evolution, be a lot more aggressive out there. He threw that more often than not. Most of them, they were to Jefferson. So, it makes sense if you're going to throw to one of your elite guys. But like you said, some of the stats, look better than kind of some of the impacts. I mean, Hawkinson torched us. Jefferson torched us. Even Thielen had 3 catches for 67 yards like that. But it didn't feel like that in the game. Kirk played all right. He played capable. That's what he is, capable Kirk Cousins. But he wasn't playing lights out, and they bruised the living out of him, They battered him, So it's they were doing what they needed to do to win it. The defense was for us to win it. But he got last laugh on us.
Oh, it gets last laugh. Wait a minute.
Oh, has she arrived?
Yeah, she's arrived. Hello, Kat.
Yeah,
what's my goodness.
There we
go. Wow. And this is my guy, Jared, a Cowboys fan. Y'all didn't no, we did not.
Nope.
We did not.
It is so funny, too, because when he made an interview, he goes, I haven't even thought about that statement. I forgot about that. That's total bull. And as soon as they won the game, he was like, yeah. And then to break it down, the whole team did it. So he clearly had a lot of emotions for this game. But,
absolutely.
Good for him. So one of my keys is that we did not do was spread the ball and get it out quick.
Yeah.
Because I said the Vikings defense, aside from Patrick Peterson, is vulnerable. And they actually had a corner that I've already forgotten his name. I'm sorry. I had it written down before. I can't find it. That had a good game. He came in, I think, for their other corner, Dancer, and he played really well. But our offense was atrocious. Our passing offense was atrocious. I said we needed to spread the ball around. If you take away that one long bomb, we threw for 100 yards.
Yeah.
I have to pause for dramatic effect here because we threw for 100 yards, Sean.
Oh, my God.
And the only reason we got the extra 49 is because the back judge tripped up their safety who was backing up going, here it comes.
Yeah.
So
that was ugly.
It was atrocious.
Yeah.
It was atrocious. So we did not do that. We did not spread the ball around. Or if we spread it around, we did not spread it around and catch it. So it was pretty pathetic.
Didn't happen. And last but most certainly not least, Catherine, one thing I said we absolutely could not do was allow this man to walk out of FedEx saying, you like that? And as Catherine has so eloquently reminded me on a daily basis, he did do that. He walked out saying, you like that, and now everybody seems to say it. I'm done with you, Kirk Cousins, and you too, Kat. Get rid of all of it. Basketball season. Let's go.
Just a reminder, Kat, since she is paying attention, we are a questionable ref's decision away from that game being 23-7.
Very true. Very true.
Because you like Captain, you like that through a pick six.
Huh.
That got taken off the board. So just remember that.
Oh yeah.
But he is a good dude, and so happy for him that he was able to have his little revenge or happiness. Good for him.
Oh, we're moving on, Will. No more of that. Look, we got to go into it. We saw it, and look, there were a lot of positives. This game, honestly, looked good for a good portion of the game, and for a minute, it looked like, okay, are we moving to the next level? We are taking a very good team, and we are doing good against these guys. We're moving the ball. We're getting up and down the field, and then as you get into the second half, we're taking a considerable lead, and almost like you said, if we're a penalty away from putting the game, putting the nail in the coffin. You know what I mean? So there was a number of positives. Will, talk to me. What are some of the things that we did well in this game?
We played defense.
Yes,
that's what we did well, and they made some adjustments before the game and during the game. I'll hit up some of them here. So the first adjustment, I'm going to talk about how we played well. We kind of already talked about, we put a lot of pressure on Kirk Cousins. I think I saw a stat at one point during the game where we had 18 hurries on him and 11 times we hit him. We knocked him to the ground. We had a couple sacks during the game, but we were putting pressure on him. We were making him know that we were there. And like you said, they called timeout one time because he couldn't get up. He needed some time. So that what we needed to do to make him rattled, that was happening. The adjustment, number one that we made, was they put Benjamin St. Juice on Justin Jefferson to shadow him. He followed him around. We're so much, we've been so old school in the William Fuller is on this side, Jackson or Kendall Fuller's on this side, and William Jackson's on this side. And we just get torched from it. But they were having St. Juice follow him around. And Justin Jefferson had 7 catches for 150 yards and a touchdown. So it's not that he didn't have his day out there. But like I said, that touchdown catch wasn't bad coverage. He's an elite player who made a great play. That's going to happen. Our guy does that too. It's no different than what Terry did the week before. The elite players make elite plays. But we had some good coverage. We had our defensive line, our 2 stud tackles played really, really well in putting that pressure up the middle. They made a move in the second quarter. Our defense started to improve because they moved Jonathan Allen over the center. He was standing over the left guard. They moved him over the center because what the Vikings were doing is they were double teaming Daron Payne with the center and right guard. And by putting Allen directly over where that ball's being snapped, the center had to focus on him. And that allowed Daron Payne more space. And that guy's having himself a Pro Bowl season.
Yeah.
He's having a career year. He had 4 tackles for a loss. He was, he got a sack on Kirk. He was making a huge effect on the play. And so the defense just came out and played really, really well and continues to play really solid to the point where, like you said, they gave us the chance to win this game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're absolutely right. And look, that's 100% complimentary football. They're giving the offense an opportunity to win. And another part of this, because we know it's a 3-phase game, if the offense isn't getting it, the special teams is helping out. I've shouted out the special teams before. We know about our all-world punter Tress Way. 5 punts, 240 yards. Man is averaging, about 40, 45, 48 some odd yards a punt, like getting it down there, and got 3 in the 20. This guy's helping us change field position, which is helping our defense to get it going. It's Joey Sly, only 1 of 1 for the field goal, but still, you got that. You got the 2 extra points. These are successes. Now, and the reason why I bring that up is because we have had, even this year, but also in the last couple years, issues with kicking. So to have this, work it out, all these are things that were helping us to maintain the victory. No points are left on the board. And number 3, the emergence of Antonio Gibson at kick return is opening up, in my opinion, our offense, because we're not sitting at the 15 or the 20 or the 25 like when Dax Milne was back there. We're getting out to the 40, the 50. The field position is being flipped, and we're having better. We're be able to play, have a more expansive play calls because of the fact. Yeah, I was getting there. I had a couple things going, and I was trying to reach.
Find it.
The playbook is wide open because of the fact that we are able to now. We're starting at the 45 or the 50. Or potentially in their territory, as opposed to starting from the 20 and, already being, behind the 8-ball type deal. So the special teams is helping us. I've talked about this before. We've seen how the special teams of San Francisco essentially single-handedly, that and the defense, stopped the Green Bay Packers in the divisional round of the playoffs a year ago. So special teams is a huge factor. Our defense is playing up to par, and now their special teams on. We're 2 facets. We're in there. We get that one in the offense going, and we almost, I don't want to say perfect game, but to play a team that has won 5 straight games coming into this, to play a team that has been pretty solid, we almost played a perfect game in that sense that we were doing everything right. At 17-7, late in the fourth, like you said, they had only scored 7 points with 10 minutes left in the fourth. We were doing everything right, and that was because those 2 phases were definitely working for us. So,
I do have a positive on the offense. All right, and it's about the running game. It's kind of I wanted to expand a little bit on your segment earlier. I like the fact that we utilize more than just traditional running to have a running attack, since it is a struggle for us. That Armani Rogers call was terrific. It caught everyone by surprise. It showed off his athleticism. It really was, just like the announcer said, they need to get this guy involved more. So it showed off that how athletic he is. So I did like that. And Curtis Samuel had that burst up the middle, as you mentioned. So they are our 2 longest runs. But the other thing that happened in the second half that I felt helped us sustain drives is we utilized the pass to set up the run. And when we first started the game, and this whole season, we've kind of been relying on the running game to help us out with the pass game. And I felt we took a switch there. And so we would have a pass play for 5-6 yards. Then the next play would be a handoff where if Gibson or Robinson are only getting 3-4 yards, you're setting up 3rd and short, or they're getting a first down. And when you're getting that first down, you're setting up, you're building some momentum. And I felt that was a good use of the run game because it kept us balanced while we were marching down the field, especially that beautiful drive that we had where he hit Dax Milne for a touchdown pass. But if we were utilizing a shorter pass game to then let the running game complement us by getting first downs out there. And so that was a way to have a balanced attack with not going first down handoff, second down handoff. Now we're going to throw on 3rd down and we're punting the ball. So that was kind of what I've been calling for the last couple of weeks. Like, let's change our rhythm on offense. And they seem to finally get into that. So I felt the running game improved in the second half. It still is not anything to write home about, but it was getting better.
Yeah. Buddy. So did you notice Gibson run up the middle? He actually lowered his head and ran into the middle of the field. Gibson did that. RB Crew is building competitiveness.
He took that. He was running the outside. He planted his foot and darted. It was great. It was great.
Oh yeah. So I too had running backs on here, but I also. I mean, you took everything. You said everything, but there is one thing I will say about the running backs, and it is in the sense that it is not just a traditional. We know about the 2-headed monster in Gibson and Robinson, but it is Armani Rogers on that one play. It is Curtis Samuel, and it's Taylor Heinicke, who on the stat sheet, 4 carries, 17 yards, not really that much, and it was really a one run that did it. But I'm gonna tell you something. And I know, look, I'll be the first. I've dogged this guy. I've sat here and when Will puts the shirt on and does this, I'm like, get out of here, get it. This man, every time I look at him and I'm like, dude, what? I can't do it. I can't do it. He does a read option, comes around the right side, looks like he's going to get hit, dips and spins, spins like linebacker, and then takes it for 9. And I remember, so I was driving and I was, not watching, but I had the phone on and Kat was there. And I remember seeing it and I thought it was Brian Robinson. And I was like, oh, snap, bro. Oh, man, that dude, he's the truth. Because they were like, and this is why they have him, and this is why he's here. And I was like, oh, snap. And then it wasn't until I went back and looked. I was like, that's Taylor Heinicke? What? Yo, so shout out to him. I have to, because I'm going to be honest. And shout out to our guy, Alex, who loves Taylor Heinicke. He says there's certain things that Taylor does that Wentz cannot do, or just at this period in his career won't do. And one of them is that type of thing. I mean, it's a great move, and not all quarterbacks have that, but still to go out there and put yourself on the line. I mean, because after he makes that move, he runs up and dives forward for what was a controversial call when they said it was short. It looked like it was farther, got past the first down, but it was still a great move by him, and it was okay. It's energizer to the team. And it's something that not a lot of people can do, being able to scramble out and get that kind of yard. So shout out to him. That's the praise I'm gonna give you, because I got a lot of other stuff coming.
We're about to rip you a new one.
Yes, sir. Sir.
I forgot about that play, so thank you for that reminder, because that was happy times and happy memories of Taylor Heinicke. Right. If you realize I'm not wearing my shirt because
I see that.
It's in the bottom of the trunk right now.
Oh yeah. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and the reason being is because there are negatives. Absolutely. Oh my goodness gracious.
It's a lot of negatives.
I do not know if I can accurately describe the anger that ran through. I was driving with Catherine. And we were driving in a long enough distance to where I was listening to most of it on the radio. And when the radio flipped out, because we were in the same area, I did it from the phone. And I'm just sitting here listening to it. And it went, it was, 7-3-7. Okay, we're good. Oh, snap, 17-7. Wow. All right, cool. And then it kind of hit a lull for a second. And the phone went we lost, service or whatever. And then all of a sudden, what's the score? 17-17. Wait, what? And then I heard just the last bit. Oh, Heinicke had the opportunity. He gets sacked. They get the ball back. And it's just like, this is exactly what I was thinking. A year ago, this is what Heinicke did. 8 minutes ago, methodically drive down the field, play by play, getting each third down, making sure their offense doesn't stay on the field. This time he gave it up to them, and they did exactly that. And the whole drive, all they kept saying was, and last year, Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings were 6-8 in close games. And your games decided by one score or less, or one score. And, if they could have won those, things could have been so much different. And now this year, they know how to win. They've learned how to win. And I just knew it. They were just driving, periodically just right down the field, driving. And even that wasn't that bad. But then I felt like we got karma. Karma from what, ladies and gentlemen? Karma from a year ago, we played the New York Giants. We did not deserve to win that game. Slayton dropped a wide open touchdown that would have put it out of reach. Then we had a game-winning field goal opportunity by Dustin Hopkins, who missed it, but there was a similar penalty. We're running into the center. Yep. That gave us another opportunity in which we hit it. We should not have won that game. It was a steal completely. I can say that now, a year later. This was karma for that. Ridgeway came over there, blew him up, and I understand what Ron was saying and everything like that, but it was just the timing of it. Why, come on. Because of the fact that we had stopped them. We had stopped it on 4th and short at the goal line. This was a huge thing. All right, good. You don't even need to. I mean, I understand trying to block the kick, but you're not going to block it from where you're at. Maybe you could get up there, and if you're at Too Tall Jones, you can stretch out. But if you look at the way that he takes a step, goes around him, by the time he even gets to a place where he might put his hands up, the kick is already through. So it's just, it's like a clip when the returner's already scored a touchdown and you're clipping from 20 yards behind. It's just not necessary. And that is the type of thing that we just don't need. And that was the huge negative for me that just frustrated me to all get out. And it was an uncomfortable ride for the rest of the ride. Kat will know. She slipped in a couple you like that. And I said, we can pull over. All right. And I will walk. All right? Not dealing with it right now. So what are some of your negatives, man?
I'm gonna go to Heinicke because I think a lot of our negatives are focused around him. And it kind of ties into the Giants game of last year you talked about. It ties into what, the keys to the game we talked about, where I said you can only have your interception early because if you have it late, you're going to hurt us. And almost like you said, he was bound to have one of these types of plays. Remember that Giants game in week 2 when he made that dumb play that he threw an interception at like the 15-yard line and gave him the ball right back late in the fourth quarter that we were like, well, we lost it. And then I don't know, I can't remember what happened, but they didn't score on it or something. I don't remember what happened. But he had a chance to lose the game for us there. And on Sunday, while there were other factors, and the Ridgeway penalty was absolutely, devastating, this is just as bad, that interception that he threw. And he had himself a horrible game. If he had 149 yards, 15 of 28. If you take away the bomb to Curtis Samuel, which, mind you, there were 3 Vikings around when he threw this.
Thank you.
All right? And if it wasn't for the back judge knocking over the safety who was in position to catch it, that would have been an interception. And we wouldn't be sitting here even, celebrating. But it happened. So, I mean, I laughed when it happened. I was like, this man, he just gets away with stuff. Well, he didn't get away with when it really mattered. In the fourth quarter, when we're trying to play some ball control, keep the clock going, move the chains a little bit. On second down, he had pressure in his face, and he does what he does. He has poor mechanics, and when he has poor mechanics, bad things happen. Most of the time, it's because he has inaccurate throws, and this is what happened. And in that situation, he had the right read. Logan Thomas was open. But if you got pressure in your face and he can't step into the throw, he just kind of threw it off the back, all with his arm. He threw it high. He threw it right to the safety, who returned it, back to put them in scoring position. And the worst part about it is he looked off an open receiver.
Yeah.
And he talked about the fact that he knew if he threw it underneath, the guy probably would not have gotten the first down because he would have had to make a guy miss. But it would have been 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. Mm-hmm. Instead, he was going for the first down, and he just allowed the Vikings to keep their momentum going. And we know he's good for an interception game, and he did it at the end, and we weren't able to overcome that mistake of him. But my thing is, like, this is who he is. We talked about it last week. This is why I said I'm out of the Taylor Heinicke experiment. He's fun. He gets away with stuff that he shouldn't get away with. He's a great person. You want to root for him because of his excitement and his moxie that he's got. But he doesn't have the arm talent. He doesn't have the arm strength. He doesn't have the arm accuracy. And his limitations are limiting the team. And then when he's good for an interception, this time he did it at a time when we couldn't overcome it.
Yep. And it was frustrating. Now, at the same time, with that, we said he missed it over and under the tight end a couple times in eyes of McLaurin. Look, his passes have been interesting. Thank you, Jared. Keep your 6-2 Cowboys out of the comments.
Jay has one comment that we're going to get to a little bit later. So, but I see what you're talking about there, Jay.
But a lot of it also goes with some of the play calling, and especially on third down. We have an issue. Like we were able to get a couple third and shorts, but there was certain situations where we were not able to actually get it. Not able to get it. I talk about the one run that Heinicke had where puts that corner on spin cycle to the linebacker and then, goes for what we thought was a first down. It got called short. If I'm not mistaken, no, that was the one where we ran the jet sweep, right? I believe that might, if I'm not mistaken, that was the one where we had 3rd and 1 and then went for it 4th and 1 and missed it on both because we couldn't get a daggone yard. I have a problem with our play calling, especially on third down. A week ago, we had it where we had a draw up the middle. It was 3rd and 7, 38, and he ended up slipping. The play was there, but still, come on. The first third down we had in the game, we threw on a crossing route to Curtis Samuel that was 5 yards under, behind short of the line of scrimmage, or short of the first down marker. And it's like, what are you doing? Now he has to make a play to get the first down. So it's an issue. It's absolutely an issue. And look, you and I discussed the one play. I sent you a video of it. We had an early third down, I believe in the first quarter, where drops back and look, we have Gibson over to the right. He comes back in motion. He goes out to run a swing over to the left. Looks like it's a screen set up. We drop back. The two defensive ends shoot up. So Heinicke moves up. And then he ends up running as if it was a draw. Now, you had told me that you had thought that it was a design play. And then I looked at that and thought, oh, well, that's a design play. But still, I mean, it's just awareness. It's just, I mean, if it wasn't a draw, what are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, if it wasn't and it was the screen, okay, the play was there, but then Heinicke, you got to make it happen. You know what I mean? 3 of 10 is not successful on third down. We've been dealing with it for the last couple weeks, and it's not helping our offense. And with our offense failing, obviously the other parts of our team suffer. So, yeah, that's something that we definitely got to work on. Those play calls on third down and getting our things together. So
that's a good segue to my next negative, which is going to be the offensive line, and part of it goes hand to hand. It's exactly what you're talking about. On that third down play, we were in shotgun, 3rd and 1, and we're in shotgun. So we're giving the running back the ball 7 yards behind the line of scrimmage when we need 1 friggin' yard. Like, what do we promoted a fullback because we're down on tight ends. Put him on the field.
Right.
This is the time you run behind him on 3rd and 1. Like, we don't need to be running from shotgun like that on 3rd and 1. Do that on 2nd down and 1st and 10, all that stuff. I'm fine with that. And then, like you said, that next play. I actually didn't hate the 4th down call because the offensive line got blown up the middle. So if we did run it just like the week before, we would have gotten stuffed because our offensive line is terrible. It was a terrible throw by Heinicke. He threw the ball behind Terry, and the defender got his hand in there. But I'm trying to segue to the offensive line being a problem. This was a game where Heinicke did get pressured, and he's the type of quarterback that he can't. Like I said, if he can't set his feet, step into his throws, he's gonna be inaccurate. And his inaccuracies, just like Rex Grossman's inaccuracies, cause problems for your offense. And he turns into
Sexy Rexy.
2022 Sexy Rexy out there. And for a while, they were talking about, hey, have you noticed that our sack numbers are down because we've got a mobile quarterback and who knows how to get rid of the ball and can make space. But it's also a little bit more of, like you say, Heinicke does this his voodoo stuff that he finds ways out of the pocket. It's not a good offensive line play. We still had 24 carries for like 80 yards by our running backs. That's not good enough.
No.
Like I said, it had to take gimmick plays to have a running game. We need more of that, but there's no fixing this offensive line. It is what it is. I did notice, though, the last 2 games we've had some pretty poor offensive outings running the ball. Trey Turner's been back in the game. Back as starting right guard. Now, I don't want to put all of it on him, but it's just kind of interesting that some of the troubles that we were having, and then we started to make some improvements. Well, the troubles are coming back, and number 53 is back out there too. So, but Cornelius Lucas had some troubles. He couldn't handle Zadarius Smith. He couldn't handle Danielle Hunter. So the offensive line, they did a piss poor job of constructing this unit in the offseason. They botched the 2 guards that they signed, and it is what it is. We can't do much about it, but it's really hindering our offense.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, it is, and I got to talk about Taylor, man. I have to, because a lot of the issues that we had a year ago are reoccurring. I mean, one of the things that we talked about last year is he throws high balls. He throws a lot of times high balls. When you can overthrow daggone Logan Thomas, 6'7" Logan Thomas, that's a problem, man. Like, I understand you're short and you try to throw high, but come on. I mean, you look at that interception. He is overthrowing these guys by a mile, and it's a problem. And the other thing is, look, we always talked about Carson Wentz holding onto the ball and holding it, waiting for the big play. And we know Heinicke has a propensity to go for that deep ball, go for that. But if it comes at the expense of a shorter pass that might be open, there was a number of times when the swing route was wide open. Not even just on that one play we discussed, but he's just standing here with time in the pocket, looking deep. And it's like, dude, the defenders are backing up. You can at least get 5 over here. If not, run the ball. You know what I mean? And then we got lucky on the deep. But let's just be very honest. You stated it. The daggone field judge was down there and tripped up that guy who was sitting there waiting. And you could tell when he falls down, his hands are still like this because he's like, this was gift wrapped to him. I didn't see this play till after the fact, and I'm glad I didn't, because I would have just lost it. Because he was triple covered. Will, come on. Like, I respect, hey, damn the torpedoes, full steam ahead. I respect effing he's down there, whatever. But no, especially when there are guys sort of that you can hit for a first down. I get it. You want to charge the team, but you don't have to charge the team by potentially giving the game away. Yep. You know what I mean? And even on the interception late in the game that we talked about was overthrown, you had Dax Milne on one side coming in and shooting out and doing a little dig route. You had on the other side, I think it was Sims coming in doing the same thing. Both wide open. Both had angles. You could get it. It's a 2nd and 10 or 2nd and 11. Hit it. Get them quick and go. The route that Milne ran was the same one that you scored a touchdown. You threw a touchdown pass to him. You know what I mean? Get it to him and let him go up the field and do it. But you took the shot. Fine. I don't have a problem with you taking the shot. You threw it to a wide open guy. Logan was wide open. Huge target. This is great. How do you overthrow him? Like, that to me, okay. Like, okay, maybe it's just like Joey Sly, you're too jacked up and whatever. But no. And I mean, just the worst possible time. Taylor just, oh my God. And see, this is the issue with winning the late games against the Packers, winning late games against the Colts, is that we tend to try to forget about why those late games were in the position that they were in. Yes. Because we couldn't do anything because of a lot of these things that happened before. And that is the frustration that I have with him. A lot of people sit out here and think, oh, man, you hate Taylor, or you this, you that, blah, blah, blah. No, I don't hate the man at all. I see him for what he is. You know what I mean? Yeah. And stuff like this, he's better than that. That's my problem. I understand he can't throw as much. I understand he wants to go balls to the wall and do what it is. But if you can understand your limitations, there's a lot of quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls understanding their limitations and just doing what they need to do. So, Taylor, rant over. What is going on, Anthony, and what's going on, Andrew? Sorry, you guys had to come in and see me go off on my quarterback.
But you know, Sean, you said it. He's better than this, but is he better than this? If you could essentially say he was a rookie last year. All right, that was his first time to play extensively, but he played a full season. He had 16 starts. He said he learned from his mistakes that he made last year. You're not showing that out here. You're
No.
not being any more careful than you were last year, and you're not any more accurate than you were last year. So that's the whole point where I'm over the Taylor Heinicke experience, just because he is what he is. He's going to make a mistake in the game, and you just got to wonder, when is it going to be, and are we going to be able to overcome it? And in this situation, in this game, it was at the end, and no, we weren't able to overcome it.
No, and I think, even your point to one of your keys, throw the interception early. We're already conceding that it's going to happen.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Just let's do it at the right time. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. I don't know. Yep. You got any more negatives here?
Small things, but it's not really.
Yeah.
We'd just be piling on. We got the big stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to quickly move on. We're going to try to give you some game balls, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to go first, and somebody that I believe you and I both picked. The only person we can give it to, really, on the offensive side of the ball, Curtis Samuel. 3 catches, 65 yards, and a touchdown. The one run up the middle. Curtis Samuel being back, I honestly think it just revitalizes our offense. And I know it's been a struggling offense, but having him on the field, you can tell the difference between having him on the field and what that does for Terry McLaurin, what it does for Antonio Gibson, the run game, and just in the quarterback. Had both Carson Wentz and Taylor Heinicke he's been one of their favorite targets. So having him on the field has been huge. If you look at the stat sheet, it doesn't really jump off the page, only 3 catches and only 1 run, but at the same time, the impact of some of those catches on third downs, deep balls where we really needed it. The one major play where he probably the smallest guy in that pack of three or four the corners that were over there and safeties, he jumps up, makes the play, and then has the presence of mind to then jump up and hop into the end zone, because let's be very honest, there's no guarantees we score even from the 1. We've had troubles at times in the red zone. So that's my game ball on offense. What do you think? I know we talked about that's who you were thinking.
Yeah, similar play. My game ball goes to the Mr. Official, the back judge. Yeah. Thank you so much for tripping up the safety and making it only a 2-on-1 play instead of a 3-on-1.
Right.
And Curtis Samuel's able to catch it and roll into the end zone for a big touchdown and a 49-yard fast play for the Commanders. Thank you, Mr. Official.
Yes, sir. Your check is in the mail, sir. Yo, what's your game ball on defense, Will?
Defense, I'm going to go back to I keep saying these guys, but it's because they're having just a phenomenal season. And that's our 2 defensive tackles, John Allen and Jerron Payne. They're constantly putting pressure on the quarterbacks. They're constantly knifing through and making tackles on running backs. And they're just outperforming what I thought they could be. I mean, this is exactly what we were hoping for when we drafted these guys. Could we get really impactful defensive tackles? And it took them until 4 or 5 years or a change in the defensive scheme potentially to allow them to attack. And they are helping the revitalized defense. They're the anchors of it as we've gotten so much better. As Nathan says, if you look at the stats, our defense is way better than what it is perceived based on what we're doing up front.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and it shows. I mean, we held them to what, if I'm not mistaken, under 50 yards of rushing.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook. Yeah. Dalvin Cook he had 47 maybe.
Yeah. So our defense has been showing up, and I mean, look. Speaking of, we were going to talk about a little bit later. The Eagles game, we held them to 62 yards rushing. We held Zeke to under 50 yards on the ground. The same thing. So we can do that. We have been doing that this year. So yeah, I definitely love it. And look, going with that defense, we have an improved secondary. And I'm not going to put it all on William Jackson III. Hopefully, everything is working well for him in Pittsburgh. Oh, snap.
I'm happy doing it.
But look, we cannot overlook the fact that communication is improved. These guys are playing together, and that shows. Bobby McCain and Cam Curl led in tackles, but it's not these huge gash plays. I mean, they were tackling deep on some deep balls they were throwing, but they're coming up to the line. We talked about it a week ago, how they were definitely making plays in the backfield and getting tackles for loss. That is huge. Then you add in Benjamin St. Juste. Only had 3 tackles, but I'm going to tell you something, man. This guy, and I didn't know this. I didn't think about this till I talked to Alex, you guys in the chat, on what should happen, and you were saying Benjamin St. Juste was on their guy. You said you were talking about it earlier today, on Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson had 7 catches for 115 yards, yeah, but he was targeted a whole heck of a lot. And with the exception, we also know that touchdown, which was a good play, like you said, but with the exception of a lot, like he shut them down. And if you look at that 3rd down, right before Ridgeway obviously got the penalty, they threw to Justin Jefferson in the end zone. And Benjamin St. Juste was right there with the da-da. Let's go. So, I have to shout him out for playing the way he did. I mean, a lot of corners are going to have long days when they're playing one of the premier wide receivers in the league. So, for him to have that kind of day, it was great. And then I got to shout out to your guy, Danny Johnson. Got an interception right before the half. Let's go, man. You're on the team. Proud of you, my friend. But the secondary, and this has been one of the places outside of linebacker that we've really talked about has been struggling, and different pieces have been moving in and out. So to see them finally coming together, hey, right on time. We need it.
Yep.
So you have that's it, right? That's it.
That's 2 game balls.
That's
yep.
Game balls. I love it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is. Yeah, buddy. What is going on, people? We see you here with us, and we so appreciate it. And we've seen you going back and forth. Oh, man. We talked about this when the Vikes deserve to steal that raft. Hey, Karma, we talked about it. Get out of here. Is Heinicke lucky and Wentz is straight voodoo? Well, got him out of there. He missed it over the tight end. Oh, we saw that one. Corin.
Yeah. We got 2 questions or 2 comments about the ownership, and we are going to talk about the latest in ownership, including, as Delilah says, RG3 would like to be a part of an ownership group. We got a little something for you very soon.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There's a bunch out there. So we will definitely get into it. But before we do, ladies and gentlemen, on Washington Football Weekly, we had some news. And that's a familiar thing that we say around here on Washington Football Weekly, be it coaching, be it our owner, which we will talk about, or be it the D.C. Attorney General and the whole story of what happened to Brian Robinson.
Yeah.
So
we're a little early, and we're basically just saying tune in tomorrow. But there's going to be some more anti-Snyder information coming out.
Yes.
So, but we talked about last week, where's some of the sale coming from? And I think some of it has to do with what's going to come out tomorrow. The D.C. Attorney General has taken the information from the congressional panel that was investigating Snyder and is investigating things a little bit further. What they're looking at is into the team's finances. It's essentially when the Redskins would have non-Redskin games, Taylor Swift's in town, the Rolling Stones are in town, concerts and stuff like that. The percentage that they would give back to the owners was not the percentage that they were supposed to, and they were skimming the books on it. And I think this is where they're gonna rule on some things, and they said they're gonna rule on stuff that Snyder was involved in. So it's not gonna be pretty for Dan Snyder. All right, so that's coming tomorrow. That's the preview. They made this announcement today. What the Commanders did and what Snyder's team did, you don't put the whole team in here. This is numero uno at the top. Go ahead and doing this. Put out a really, really disingenuous, just a pathetic statement, and basically saying that, they started off by saying, since this is coming from the Attorney General of DC, that one of our players got shot 3 months ago because of the crime in your city that you're not paying attention to. And then they went on to blast saying that, he should be focusing on the crime in the city. We've been working with him and giving him all this information. This is just a political stunt. So this continues to be just the crap that Dan Snyder does. Like, this is why everyone hates you, Dan. This is why everyone wants you out of here and saying good riddance, because you know you're about to look terrible tomorrow. You know
Yeah.
you're going to be tied to whatever they have to say about this team that you own, that you're a part of, and you come up with just pathetic, petty statements like this that come on behalf of the team. So you're lumping everyone in to your own, brand of shittiness. Pardon my French. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. But so we'll just have to see tomorrow. But this is why everyone was so excited when the announcement was that they're going to sell, because we're just sick of this crap. Everyone is,
man.
and especially in DC.
It's ridiculous, man. It's absolutely ridiculous. So look, let's move on to some good news then. Piggybacks right off of that. Him selling the team. Look, we've talked about, now the writing's on the wall. We can say that it's going to happen. We can say with some kind of confidence that this is definitely going to be happening. This is the move that's going to be made. And a lot of names are coming up. We've talked about a couple of the guys that were in the running talk about what Byron Allen was one of those guys. I think Jabari Harris, one of those guys that were in the running for the Broncos job. A couple of those other jobs trying to become owners. And obviously, like you said, I got to shout you out because you said this is a hot commodity. People want to be the owner of the Washington Commanders, just this whole franchise. So we've got names. Bezos and Jay-Z were two that were linked together. But Will, there's some additions to that group. Delilah, she mentioned one of them. Who else is on board trying to jump on this train?
Yeah, so RG3, he's trying to put a team together and be a part of an investment group. We have mentioned, I think Jay was asking us, are we excited about Bezos and Jay-Z? And would that get us excited? And another guy that wants to join that team is Mr. All right, Matthew McConaughey, lifetime Skins fan.
Yeah.
Big time Redskins fan. And he said it would be a dream of mine to be a part of a team that owns it. So we're starting to see, some other folks that are coming around here. I'm waiting. I think the next guy that's going to come out is going to be Dale Jr. Huge Redskins fan.
Yes.
And that's when we talk about why this is going to be such a hot commodity, is because there are people who know it when the team was the logo that I'm wearing is when they were the Redskins, and not the Redskins of 2010 and 2005 and of the Redskins of the 80s and 90s when they were a dominant franchise and a premier team in the league. And that's what some of these guys are going to want to remember. Here's my thing on the Jeff Bezos Jay-Z thing. I'm pumping the brakes so hard on that for two reasons. All right. And some of it has to do with Snyder's pettiness that we saw tonight.
Yeah.
So the leading newspaper that is bringing up all these allegations and situations against him is the Washington Post. Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. You mean to tell me that the paper that is making me lose my team is who I'm going to sell that to?
Exactly.
I gotta say, I don't know if he's going to do it. I can see him being petty enough to say, I'm not selling to that guy.
Not to that person, right?
Plus, the other thing with that at the owners is, if Jeff Bezos comes into the owner to be an owner of the league, he's the richest man in the league.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
You're talking about a lot of old dudes with big money that are used to always getting their way.
Yep.
And now this guy who's the richest man in the league walks into the room, and the richest person in the room usually has the most power. So you telling me that Jerry Jones is going to be like, oh, hey, Jeff, what would you like to do with the league?
Right.
What are your ideas on how we can make more revenue? So I just think there's a little bit of like a pissing contest among the owners. And I just wonder if they would not be thrilled for a Jeff Bezos to come in, just knowing that of the clout that he has. So I think it's going to be real interesting. I mean, I think $7 billion is what they think it's going to go for.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's going to take folks that like Jay-Z and like McConaughey and Dale Jr. to it's going to take a collaboration of people to do this. Yeah. We're not talking about the Walton family who owns Walmart saying, okay, we can put this up as collateral. We're going to buy the Denver Broncos. So I think it's going to be interesting to see who else comes out. But, it certainly gets you excited. And the timeline alone just gets me excited that maybe by March we're talking about a new owner.
That is craziness. Got people watching. Nate said, if hoping a DMV businessman or woman can make a run for owning the team.
I love that. I agree.
Yeah. Somebody that knows somebody that's from the area that knows the team.
Mm-hmm.
But that's another reason why I like McConaughey kind of hopping on there because he has loved it for so long. You know what I mean? Does Jay-Z know the culture of DC? Can a New York and a Washington blend together?
Well, Jay-Z just wants to be in the NFL. That's why he's come in partnership with them for various things with Rock Nation. He wants to be an owner in the league. So, no, I don't think he cares anything about the Commanders. There's nothing about that that excites him. It's how often does a team become available? Right. And you are talking about, though, a major media market, unlike Denver of DC.
Very true. Very true. Plus, Jeff Bezos right now isn't a good look because there's an issue with the NBA and what he has on his platform. Okay. Interesting.
I don't pay that much attention to the NBA enough to know. But I will say, shout out, Nate, you've got a question that of one of our next segments here, right here. Did you see this? A little forecasting there, Nate.
Okay. Great call. We'll go ahead and segue right in. And in a discussion, a little NFL news that actually kind of directly affects us. We have been linked with the Colts through Carson Wentz, who was their quarterback a year ago. And we know how our Jim Irsay and him kind of went back and forth, and they wanted him out. Well, look, Irsay, he's having issues all around the board. First and foremost, you get rid of your OC. You bench the quarterback that you traded over here from the Falcons and Matt Ryan. And that wasn't maybe not on him, but then you got your coach now he's been fired. We've known Irsay has been very outspoken about our owner. He's got a lot of stuff going on over there in Indianapolis. But from a coaching perspective, and answer going back to this question, Frank Reich, fired from them, great offensive mind, knows Carson Wentz. Could this be beneficial? Could we potentially make a run at getting him here?
You want to take this first?
No, that's all you.
Okay. I got to go first? All right. So I'm going to say yes in 2023, but not in 2022. Remember that time when we was Jim Zorn the head coach? We brought in Sherm Lewis out. He was calling bingo in retirement. All right. And we brought him in, and I think we ended up firing some coach, or maybe I don't know, but he ended up calling the offensive plays. Some guy who was retired at the time. It just caused that he came in as an analyst and ended up becoming a play caller, and it just caused a lot of turmoil. I love the idea of Frank Reich coming in. If Carson Wentz were to be on this team again next year, would he want to be our offensive coordinator? Would he want to be an analyst? Does he come in as a quarterbacks coach and just really get to focus on Carson and working on him? Because let's also remember last year, all right, the Colts didn't make the playoffs, but Wentz was 27-7 in touchdowns and interceptions.
Absolutely.
He had a great running game. He had a great offensive line, so I don't want to take that away. But maybe Reich knows how to get the best out of Carson, even if that's only mediocre Carson. That mediocre Carson is a whole lot better than what we saw, working for us. So, yeah, I would be all about Frank Reich making a reunion with him. They like each other. But I think it would cause more turmoil right now. So to Nathan's question of do we need to have another play caller, I think you got to just make Scott Turner ride this out, because then you can give an evaluation on him. And I think I don't know what else people can do with as bad of our offensive line is.
Right.
What more are we really going to do at this point?
And that's the issue, because it's not – we can call the different plays, but if you don't have the time for the plays to set up, you know what I mean, or the linemen that are going to hold hold the line or whatever, it's just – I'm sorry, man. There's a lot of times – no, and don't get it twisted. There's times where he had time to pass the ball. But at the same time, our I-line is just not – it's so inconsistent. And just with the injuries and everything like that, it definitely does not help. Jared said we give zero damns about Bezos and the NBA.
I was trying to respond to that on Facebook. Yeah, I don't follow the NBA.
Oh, does this mean Brian Mitchell about to coach y'all next? I like to fire, but then that means what's his name? Doc Walker's going to be a coach too. And then
You know it.
that's going to be our version of Dan Campbell over here.
Doc Walker will be the get back coach.
Yeah, right
out there.
Come on.
Right. Speed up, fire people up.
So we'll see. I mean, to be honest with you, I understand the connection between him and Carson. And I mean, obviously, this is a topic for other shows that we do have on the Let's Talk Football agenda or team. And they're going to talk about this because Irsay, he was one of the main ones coming after Dan Snyder and saying we need to do something. This guy needs to get out. He's talking about all the issues and he's had a lot of issues himself over here in the Colts. I mean, come on now. This guy, I mean, we all remember the fact that they came one game out of the playoffs a year ago, but they started off like 1-7 or something. They started off bad and then had like an 8-game run late in the season, and they got them back into playoff contention. So, get back, coach. So yeah, they got issues going on. But ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna take a quick breather and then we're gonna come back to you because we got a game this week that we need to win. Yes, because we're coming back in this division. Jared, I hope you stay tuned.
Dun, 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 dun.
Let's go. The Washington Commanders. There it is. Yeah, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a game this week, ladies and gentlemen. We have a game that was destined for us to win. Ladies and gentlemen, the last time we faced a team that was undefeated, that had multiple wins, not just 1-0, because we faced a couple teams that have been undefeated like that, but had almost either 8, 9, 10 or wins. We got the W and derailed their entire season. Pittsburgh Steelers 2020.
Oh, yeah.
This is that same scenario, ladies and gentlemen. We are going up against the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles, and they look good. I'll admit, they do look good. They have not lost a game. Last game, they put up 24 points in the second quarter against us. But ask them how many points they put up in the rest of the game. Boom! Yes. Is my cup half full? Yes.
It's totally full with that comment.
Hey, we shut them down on the ground. That vaunted offensive running game held them to 62 yards rushing. Look, we are a couple bad, deep balls and splash plays away from that game. Well, in an offense, we didn't do anything on offense from that game being closer. And you look, they're playing hot. They're playing ready to go. They're coming off of an easy victory on Thursday night, if I'm not mistaken. And they beat the Texans last Thursday.
They did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, hey, they're potentially overlooking us, looking at other victories. They're looking at 17-0. I've seen all the different little pictures and things on YouTube and IG and Facebook about them going undefeated. Can they do it? I'm here to tell you. The losing streak starts now. Washington's getting this, but we'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk about it. Eagles, Washington, what do you think?
Man, I'm nervous for this game. And nervous, and maybe I should say I just don't have a whole lot of expectations for this game. It's Monday night. The Eagles are rolling. It's in Philly. Like, doggone it. Maybe Ron can have better fortune on Monday Night Football than all of the Redskins teams ever did because we were terrible on Monday night. But, I mean, our offense is struggling. Their offense is flying high. The lowest amount of points they put up this season is 20. If I'm seeing this right, like this is not a recipe for us to play well. Their offense is just, like I said, it's flying high. They've got receivers that are making, tons of plays out there. Dallas Goedert is back into the rotation and getting involved in the offense. Their running game is, Miles Sanders had no touchdowns last year, and all of a sudden now he's getting them. He's on my fantasy team. People laughed at me, but he's been all right. But their defense is, up front is solid. Their corners are making tons of interceptions. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that trade from the Saints, he's been amazing, for them. So everything is just going Philly's way, except for one thing.
Hmm.
The universe is not going for Philly right now.
Come on now.
The
Come on
union
now.
lost.
Yep.
The Phillies lost the World
Come on.
Series. It might just be time for Philly to lose that game.
Let's go, baby.
Everyone is just on Philly right now. Maybe we need to have this happen for us too.
Oh, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And I'll take it one further. The Philadelphia 76ers, they lost James Harden for a good amount of time this year due to injury.
Speaking.
Oh, let it happen.
He's not on the Rockets anymore?
No. He's on. He went to Philly. Then I think he was at the Nets, and then I think we went back to Philly. I don't know. I follow him barely. Yeah. Yo, I'm telling you, this is it. I know people say you're crazy, whatever, but the game, if you really break it down quarter by quarter, if you take out that second quarter, this is a totally different game. Now, a lot of people say, okay, it was over at the half. Well, no, it wasn't. Oh, get out of here. No. We shut them. They had opportunities in that third quarter where we shut them down. We weren't able to do anything, so essentially it might have been over. But at the same time, our defense was playing decent at that time. Now with it playing better, I feel like it can happen. So look, Will, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, our keys to victory. Yeah, buddy. Our keys to victory. Number one is going to be what we did last game. Last game, I told you we held them 62 yards on the ground. We know how dominant that rushing game is. A year ago, it led the league in rushing, and it's been pretty potent this year as well. Miles Sanders, you talked about, is having a comeback year. Jalen Hurts is pretty solid. And then you have Gainwell and Scott out there as well, also getting some carries. So, honestly, our key has got to be shut down the running game. That running game definitely opens things up everywhere else. Now, I understand last game we got torched. We got splash played. They went deep on us a lot. And a lot of that, I think, or at least I'm hoping, was the miscommunication in our secondary that hopefully we have fixed. That running game is their life. That is their bread and butter. We shut down that running game. I think that we can seriously halt that offense. So that is one of my keys to victory.
You pretty much took all my talking points for my first key too, and it was make Hurts beat us throwing, and I had this in the first game as well, and he sure did beat us throwing. But just like you said, I feel like our defensive secondary, our back, they're playing a whole lot better than they were before. Same juice on AJ Brown, to try and contain him a little bit. I don't think we're going to shut him down, but maybe we can contain him. Maybe if we can prevent just some of the, they got away with some huge plays out there, long throws to him that they just, huge chunk plays that they would get down the field, and in some of those touchdowns where it's like Hurts was just like, I'm not scared of y'all. Here, I'm just going to throw it up to my receiver. So maybe taking off some of that practice with Jefferson from last week will give him a chance to learn how to play on some elite wide receivers like that. So we just got to try and make Jalen Hurts beat us by throwing the ball. We got to contain him. I think we need to go with the whole idea of we don't need to blitz a whole lot. We need to go with our 4 linemen to keep him in the pocket. Don't allow that running game like you talked about from the running backs and him to torch us the way Justin Fields did. That's the recipe we don't want. Keep him in the pocket, make him throw the ball. And while he did it to us one time, I'd rather see if we can, stop him, through the pass.
Yep. My second key to victory, I'm going to stay right here on the defense. Jamin Davis has to have a huge game. He had a huge game. He had a big game last game where he was able to kind of just stop Jalen Hurts from getting around the corner. A lot of this is going to, be big in the running game, but he needs to have an impactful game where he gets a sack, where he potentially gets interception or a forced fumble or recovered fumble or something of that nature, where he is just flying around. He's been really playing a lot better. I wouldn't call it the meteoric rise that one Will Kramer predicted or said he should have this year. But honestly, I think you'd have to be blind to not see that he's doing a lot better this year. He seems more comfortable, and it seems like he's kind of he's not afraid anymore. He's not thinking so much. He's just reacting. He's reading and reacting and playing very well. I think he's going to have, and from both my linebackers, we're going to have to have a big game from them because I think they are going to be tested a lot.
Is Holcomb going to be back?
I don't think so. That's why I was leaning toward Jamin Davis, but I will see. I don't think he will.
Gotcha. That helps me because I'm going to pick two players in for. I'm going to stick with the defense as well and go with your theme of picking a guy who needs to step up and pick two. Mm-hmm. Kendall Fuller. Mm-hmm. He needs to have a bounce back game against Philly from the last one because he's the one that was getting torched.
Yeah.
By A.J. Brown. And, at first I remember saying, well, no, he's having good coverage when I saw it live. And no, he wasn't. He played. You were absolutely right. He was getting torched out there by Philly's wide receivers. So Fuller needs to have a bounce back game because, like I said, if Benjamin St. Juste has kind of shown that he can man up somebody and stick with them, then they're going to throw to whoever Fuller's covering, whether that's A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. So he's going to have to be playing much better. And then along with that, the other guy on defense is we need to have the continued, steady, consistent, great play that we're getting from Cam Curl.
Yep.
Because Dallas Goedert is becoming much more of a weapon in their offense. He's getting featured a whole lot more. And if we're not sure about Holcomb, and we don't really want Jamin Davis to be covering a tight end, someone's got to do it. And Cam Curl, while Holcomb has come out, has been coming down in that Buffalo nickel role. They actually, the way they announced the team last week is they said 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, and they included Cam Curl in it, and then they did our secondary all together. So we need Curl to be that type of player that's checking Goddard, staying with him, and then also just flying around and making sure if he's spying on Hurts, again, that Hurts is being in the pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to offense, for me, Antonio Gibson. We've seen is solid, and he's getting more touches in the running game, and it seems a lot more confident in the running game. We know how lethal he is in the passing game, catching the ball out of the backfield. And then we've also got him starting to play a lot more in kick return. From what I've seen and from following, Gibson through the last couple of years, the more solid plays you get for him, the more plays where he's having a successful return, 4 or 5 yards, 6, 7 yards, maybe busting out for 10, 11, whatever, he gets confident. And the more confident he gets, the more lethal he becomes. We've seen late in the game when he gets that kick return, he brings us back to almost midfield, and all of a sudden, now we're starting to flip the field. With him in the passing game, I mean, his emergence in the passing game has almost totally blanked McKissick. You know what I mean? Like, McKissick's role has definitely shrunk, in my opinion, with Samuel and definitely Gibson coming out. Gibson has to have a big game all the way around, catching, running, and in the special teams. And if that happens, I mean, I can totally see him having a big game. And if that happens, honestly, I think that's gonna help us out. That's gonna help us out a great deal.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So sticking with offense there, I'm gonna say we need to take what was successful in the last game and run with it, and that is utilizing the pass to set up the run to move the chains. We need to have a ball control type game. I think that was Jay saying that's how we need to be running the ball. And the idea is we can't be giving Philly the ball with a bunch of times and with all these weapons.
Exactly.
Part of the reason we also got beat out there in the first game is they went down the field and scored a touchdown. Then we got the ball and in 3 plays and we punted. And our defense was back out there. Then they went down and scored a touchdown. Now it's 14-0. And we went out there 3 plays and punted the ball. Then they went, so our defense had no chance to rest, and then their defense was just fired up because they wanted to play 3 snaps, and then they waited a while and played 3 snaps, and they were flying everywhere. So we need to, Scott Turner, this is on you, Taylor Heinicke, execute this game plan. We need to have the passing game to open up the chances for the run. I think we're going to need to see a few more, not necessarily trick plays, but other folks involved in the run game, not just Gibson and Robinson, utilizing Samuel. If Terry gets one of those sweeps to run, if you give it to Rodgers again, we're going to need to do some things to be creative to allow that running game to go in. But we've got to be able to play some ball control if we're going to have a chance.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Jaron saying, y'all did a decent job limiting quarterback runs in the first game. It's the wide receiver and tight ends y'all need to worry about. Yep. Absolutely. Goddard had a touchdown, had a big game. Devonta Smith went off. A.J. Brown had a touchdown. That's going to be it, limiting those deep balls. He said, y'all need to defer to the second half on the coin toss. Yeah. And I mean, hey, look, you're absolutely right. It's going to take some stuff like that. At the end of the day, number one thing that we have to do is win the turnover battle. We have got to steal some possessions from them. I mean, bottom line, like you said, they went down that second quarter, went down the field, scored, got it with 3 and out, went down the field. You know what I mean? We have got to steal some possessions because if we can steal some possessions, flip some momentum, get us on the field, and then capitalize on that, even if it's just a field goal, we need to be able to do that to then maybe make them not necessarily have fear, but at least think twice about it. Mm-hmm. After those first couple drives, you can tell. I mean, and matter of fact, shout out to Anton. Anton was saying the whole time Anton was at the game. He's saying he would throw a pass, and then Hurst would just kind of Conor McGregor it down the field, just like there was no fear. He was not worried about our defense, and we need to put that fear in him. What we talked about, what we did last week, what we've been doing. Ellinger was on his back. Kirk Cousins was on his back. Justin Fields was on his back. Rodgers. We have our D-line and our defense has been coming alive, and we need to continue that. We need to start putting Hurts on his back in this game and really shut that down, and we need to cause some turnovers, be it interceptions, fumbles, whatever. We definitely need to create some turnovers and steal some opportunities, steal some possessions from them because that's going to be huge. Because like you said, keeping our defense on the field for long periods of time, I mean, forever good they've become and have they been, you can't stay on the field for that long. You just don't have the energy for that. So,
right.
Yeah. Yep.
And maybe we'll get a big Chase Young sack since he will be back on Monday night.
Let's go. Prime time, baby. Look, like you said, poke some eyes, fake some hold calls, cramp third, hurry up, trick plays, fumble rooskies, whatever it takes, man.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, that's what we're going to have to do. So, yes, that is great news. Those are our keys to victory. Now, let's be realistic. Will, what are you thinking, man? We're coming into this game 4-5. We know they're undefeated, but it is doable. I think it can be done. What's your score prediction for this game Monday night?
Yeah, so it kind of worked in our favor last week when we both were picking the Vikings in this one and saying, we're probably not going to win this. So I'm going to stick with that because we were on our way to victory by doing this. So I'm going to go Eagles 31, Commanders 13.
Here we go. I see what you did there. Flip the numbers. I'm going with the same thing. I got Eagles 27 and Commanders 10. Our offense, and being realistic, our offense is just we got to get lucky, and we are having a hard time scoring. Like we've been capped at 17 to 20 points all year, and it's just not. I mean, at least since Heinicke's come in, it really hasn't looked pretty a lot of the time. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. We know how good Philly's defense is, so yeah, that's what I got. Let's see what these people. Anton is saying 28-17. I know for sure we can't do the points. Yeah,
right.
We have an issue. What's going on, Kyle? Don't worry.
Welcome.
We'll have you in here when your Falcons take that L.
It's coming soon.
Yeah. It's coming. Let's go. Okay. 21-27. Commandos. You saying we're going to win? Well, yeah, you're a Cowboys fan, so of course you want us to win. Yeah. Any help to you guys.
To lose.
Let's go. Yeah, buddy. So, those are score predictions. Yo, definitely lay in the comments what you think. We got yours, Anton. We got yours, Jared. We'll see what happens. It should be quite interesting. This has huge implications for the playoff picture. Going down the line. I mean, not as much for them. I mean, a loss to them won't do much, but to us, it'll bring us up to 5-5. A loss will cement what Will had already predicted, saying after we got up to 4-4, we're gonna lose 2, and then we're gonna win 2. So if that happens, I'm with that. I'm okay with that, Will. So we will see. Look, yep, Lord, do it. Lord, do it for me. I understand, man. I get it. Oh, man, we're both, the one time we're kind of both together, both in joint hatred for the Eagles.
It's easy to do.
It is. Absolutely.
Philly. Uh-oh. We got a Washington prediction.
Uh-oh. Watch out. Joe Harris. All right. 21-17 Washington. Hey, it can be done. It absolutely can be done. That is what's up. So we will see. Look,
like it, Joe.
Ladies, yeah, appreciate that, man. Come join us, man, if you are new to the crew, man. Every night, Wednesday, try to get on here at 8 o'clock. So look, this is Washington Football Weekly. I am Sean Spencer. That's my guy, Will Kramer. We tried to give you all the hope we could, break down this game, break down the team that we love. We shall see what happens. Monday night, it will be going on live and direct. We don't have Kirk Cousins anymore, so I don't fear the primetime games as much. But I'm excited. Yes.
I agree with you. I agree.
Chase Young is back. They've been primed, and they've been ready to go. Look, I want to say, we talked about this a week ago, do not expect a full load from Chase Young. Right. I'm pretty sure he's going to be on a pitch count. Get him in there rotation. And you know what? I'm going to be honest. Especially until he gets his legs under him, I think that's a great idea.
And duplicate Kalu.
Exactly.
Let Come in that guy.
Exactly. Come in there for a certain situation. Look, I'm telling y'all can beat them if you limit mistakes and run the pill. Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, fellas.
Very kind, Jay. Very kind.
Appreciate it. Yo, check out my guy. Got to shout out him, man. Got his music and everything on gospelgrind.com. It is streaming. He's got all his music there. It is dope. It gets me through my day, man. You don't even know. I don't say it all the time, but I appreciate you, man. You're doing big things, man. So definitely check out my guy, Jared Harmon, J Red. Definitely hit him up for all your good musical needs, man. He's doing big things, man. Love him, even if he is a daggone Cowboys fan. Yeah, buddy. So look, we are going to go ahead and let you go. We're going to end off with the commercial that is of the Let's Talk Football group of shows, all the different shows we have. We have a show almost every day of the week, so stay tuned. The next one will be coming up tomorrow night, 7:30. The ladies of Let's Talk Football will get together for Let's Talk Football Ladies Takeover, where they give you a cause of the week. So one of the women in the NFL, they like to highlight different women that are either coaching or in the front office in the NFL or refs, officials. And then they do their player of the week, NFL drama, and they spotlight the Thursday night game and then end it with ladies having the final say. It is great stuff. They bring guests on. These women know what they're talking about, and they are intense. They love this sport like we all do. So definitely check them out. But yeah, for me, Sean Spencer, my guy over here, Mr. Will Kramer, we will see y'all next time. Thanks for joining us, people. Have a good night.